The global issue of racism is one of the biggest problems that we face in our society today. Discrimination against race goes back hundreds of years, and it needs to come to an end. Black Lives Matter is a global organization created in 2013 after the murder of Trayvon Martin by a police officer, which sparked a worldwide protest. The movement is a voice for all of those who are of color and a victim of racism. People who have not experienced racism firsthand may not understand the effects that it has on our society. Black Lives Matter is a movement to inform the public about the damages of racism and how to be one step closer to equality. In this presentation, I will explain the situations and events that are occurring around the world today that are cruel and affecting millions of people's lives. I would like to begin by discussing one of the most recent events that is occurring today, which is the pandemic. With the global pandemic of COVID-19, there has been an increase of racism around the world. China forced people of color in their country to go get tested for COVID-19, whether they had symptoms or not. After enforcing COVID-19 tests, China forced these people into quarantine even after their test came back negative. In the United Kingdom and United States, citizens began to refuse treatment from anyone from China because they believed that they were going to give their patients COVID-19. Asians were being blamed for starting and spreading this pandemic virus. With the increase of racism during the pandemic, it started protests all across the world. People marched the streets with signs and megaphones preaching for equal rights and Black Lives Matter. The peaceful protests were powerful, and I was honored to be a part of one standing up for equality. Some protests became out of hand and led to riots and violence. Police shot rubber bullets and gassed the rioting and protesting of the Black Lives Matter. This caused the protesters and those against them to become violent and attack by burning down businesses and police stations. The protests and rallies are a start of getting their voices heard. The violent protests not only destroyed buildings, but people were being shot and killed. A 17-year-old boy named Kyle Rittenhouse attended a protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin. He killed 2 protesters and injured a third. He informed the police of what he had done and how he had shot someone and killed them, but they ignored him. He was later arrested for the crime and sent to jail. When the news got out of what had happened and what he had done, multiple people gathered and paid for his $2.5 million bail. In our society, killing people for fighting for equal rights is justified. Hate groups that have been hiding have recently become more vocal and present, spreading their vitriol about their hatred for people of other races and ethnic backgrounds. They have been attending protests and rallies to let their voices be heard. The more media attention that they are getting gives others the confidence to come out and join their hatred groups. Social media groups that do not censor their comments are starting to attract these hate groups who want a group setting to spread their discrimination without any repercussion. People of other races and religions experience these injustices every day in their jobs, schools, and treatment by police. There is a history of those who are colored or of different ethnicity being turned down jobs because of their race, even if they're well qualified for that job. Unarmed African Americans are being violently treated by police officers for being of color. There has been an absurd amount of those killed by police with no justification. Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Stephon Clark, and many more were unarmed victims of police brutality. No more loved ones should have their lives taken away just for the color of their skin. Furthermore, we have been dealing with racism and the issue of race in America for centuries. We've been dealing with suppression of Black people since the Emancipation and Proclamation. Some of the repression has been overt and some of the oppression has been subtitle. For example, consider that NASCAR only recently banned the flying of the Confederate flag during their races. Maybe the solution lies within all of us. Perhaps we look into the implicit bias of how we look at ourselves. Maybe we talk about the problem and bring it into light. In order to bring justice of equality, each and every one of us needs to take action. The solution starts within all of us.